I come from a family of real estate developers. Unfortunately, I had my father who passed away last year. Luckily, not for COVID.
Oh, sorry about that,
So
Mattei. Sorry.
that's part of life. He was almost in his 80s. So I had to jump back managing family assets. Well, I have a background in finance, working in credit management, and after in real estate private equity. This brought me to overtake the business and try to pass through this period that's been quite complicated and full of unexpected challenges.
All right, that is true. It's unexpected challenging, like you correctly put. First, I really say sorry for the case of your father that passed away. It's not something that happened every day, and it's very painful. I remember
Yeah.
I was in primary two when I lost my dad, so I can understand what that means. So sorry about that. All right. Coming back to business, tell me a little bit about where you live. I mean, the economic situation right there, because I was talking of Verona just now. So, where do you stay, and what is the economic situation talking with people around you?
I mainly can speak from multiple perspective. I'm based in Rome, but I've been running business even in Paris, and this has been very difficult for me as we manage a portfolio of assets that's located between Rome and Paris. Rome's situation is quite tough. As you were saying, you have many activities that are in a difficult situation in our market. So, real estate asset management, we get challenges due to tenants that are in trouble, and you have to manage, let's say, the perspective that you are speaking with people who would like to work. We manage a portfolio of residential and office spaces, and we see it through the people that are our clients, and we see it through our suppliers. What is the situation? So it's not easy. The opening and closing has been terrific for many small and medium entrepreneurs, and often what has been promised has never been attended by governments or local authorities. So it's not an easy time.
Yeah, that's true. It's not an easy time. Of course, you are in Rome. Okay, I'm in Verona too. So we're in Italy, and we both understand how difficult the period of COVID have been here in Italy. So it's not an easy thing at all. From wherever you want to look at it, looking at it from the victim, looking at it from how it have impacted the life of the people and the government that are okay try to put in a lot of effort to contain the situation, and sometimes it is effective, sometimes it is not effective, because of course we can also understand that because it's not something that we have been used to. This is something that is completely strange and new. So to say that we have all been preparing for it, we have prepared for it, will be will not be the truth. So the system is basically trying to adapt to the situation. Only that the cost is quite challenging to a lot of people, to individual and in businesses. Now, coming back to real estate, where you have a big portfolio, can you tell me how the effect of COVID-19 has particularly been affecting that particular aspect of the economy?
I must say that in our area, we have been seeing three main classes of effects. One effect has been on residential, where we have families that are our clients, our tenants, and you cannot go and challenge a family that cannot afford to pay the rent. Obviously, um, we have to settle down with them. Often we find a solution and we find transaction with a discount or delaying the payments. On the other side are business clients, and on that side, often we have been obliged to call in the warranties and the grants we had. And on the third side, what we see is on the new projects and developments that we have. And on that side, public administration has lack of return. We do not manage to get documents. We do not manage to get any paper back. It's very frustrating. Must say that public offices are in smart working, and in some manner they are granted by their fixed income given by the public payroll, and there's very little attention on to the market.
Okay. All right, Mattei, I really want to understand one thing, which is okay. I want to believe that your company is of a certain size, no? Okay. Now let's look at the smaller economic, the smaller businesses in Italy, no, that are passing through this particular period. I don't know. Maybe for you, there is a kind of incentive from the government to help you. Uh, but for the
Oh,
smaller people, it's quite challenging. So tell
no
me.
incentives. We have not got any incentives. We have even been looking at what were the bonuses given, but we do not get in that sector. We are not a huge company. We are a small company. Even if the portfolio is big, you must imagine that the margins are, by the way, small, and costs have always been running. So it's been something that's been very hard for businesses. As said, from what I've been experiencing with people that work with us, that can be people that manage the facility of assets, to people who manage the technical side, or just small renovation activities on property. It's very, very hard. Not everybody has been receiving the incentives and the compensations that have been promised. Uh, I must say that we had a few companies that have been closing business, and must give my feedback on this. I think it's just the beginning, and we will see other companies closing, and small businesses that will be in a difficult situation.
Yeah, yeah. This is what we are seeing. This is what we are continuously seeing all around. All right, now let's try to make maybe a slight comparison, because we are in Italy and you have portfolio that you manage from other places, like you already mentioned in France, things like that. Tell me, what do you hear from maybe your branches or your clients that are maybe from other part of Europe, say in France or in Germany? What did they tell you about the situation from their end?
So I must say that I've been in France last week. It took me. We've been settling up an apartment that we finished to refurbish. There are similar problems. It took us around 1 month to get permits to import some furniture to an apartment. But main difference I see is there's more positivity. There's a more sense of support by the state towards the population. There is for sure more tolerance and more engagement in the, let's say, in the reality. So the main difference I can see in Italy, there's a kind of detachment between the state and Main Street reality, while in France there is more connection between government and Main Street reality.
Okay, not that you put it like that in the comparison. I'm going to, of course, ask you why. Okay, I know you are not a politician. At least I assume so. So maybe the
No,
question they should be the
no,
one.
and not intending to ever be a politician,
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
not intending to go in politics ever.
Oh wait, you never can say never. By the way, for now, you are a businessman. You are not a politician. So the question, actually, even though you are not a politician, why do you think the situation is like that? Because of course, it's affecting everybody, like we all know, particularly here in the West. Okay, you see, the situation started in China, but today it's appeared as if they sort of have put everything under control. But in other places, the struggling is really so much. If you look at the United States, for example, or UK, or okay, we are talking of the situation in Italy, it seems to be really so hard on the people. So, why do you think, in response to help the small businesses remain afloat, it's a little bit different, maybe when you compare Italy to some other countries in Europe?
Well, the main thing I think that distinguishes the countries is organization. So, let's say organization and communication. We have been passing a year with an Italian government that was doing Facebook shows, giving communication, but not giving action to the communication. While in other countries, I think like Germany, there was less this sense of trying to communicate with the people and more action made. We can see this especially in China. I think I'm not an expert on China, but for what I read on the news, they have been very committed in acting and not speaking much about things they would do. Like same thing in UK, you can see that they have been much more pragmatic and acted directly to get a whole vaccination process on the population without looking, let's say, at the lines, but looking at the big project. So I think Europe and Italy especially were missing the big project and they were more focused on the small lines.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that is fair enough. Of course, when we are going to be talking to the politician, they will have to respond to their own part. Today we are talking about business. All right,
Yeah.
Mattei, tell me, from the people that you talk with within the business ecosystem, of course, what did they complain to you about, particularly about small businesses in Italy that are basically being crushed by the situation because it's really hard on the people. That is the word for it. So, what are they complaining to you about?
Well, I was, before getting in call with you, I was in a meeting with a supplier, and he was complaining mainly on the fact that he received promises to get compensation for the time he could not work, and he's not been receiving any compensation. That he would like to work, he would like to follow his clients, and he cannot move. He's a supplier of technical material for hydric and thermal plants, and he had clients outside the region, and every time he has to move, it's very difficult. So the main thing, people would want to work, would want to run their business in a safe and ordinary manner. And I think that business owners would be the first people that would be looking at the impact that they could give on their clients, because safeguarding their clients would be their first interest. And they cannot do this. I mean, if you look at restaurants, gyms, or all these activities that were hit by this, let's say, by these regulations, and they were the first guys that were interested in giving safety to their clients. And on the other hand side, you see public transport that's packed up with people, and restaurants are closed, bars are closed. It's a nonsense. And this is very frustrating, I think, for business owners.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's very frustrating. You see, the example I was given before in the beginning of the podcast of the situation in Verona, in the small outskirt of Verona where I live. In fact, when I discussed with the guy, the barman, he sort of, I could feel the pain in him, in that it's not that they are very, very rich, but at least with the small thing that they are doing, they're able to get money to care for the family and let the business be ongoing. If they are not running the business, if the rules are this stringent in that they make it so difficult for the business to go on, then they are sort of locked out, they are in the house. You can see that there is really a lot of pain in him. Of course, not only him, there are a lot of small businesses around, not only bar in this case, but there are smaller ones that I don't know. I repeat again, you are not a politician, you don't make the law, but you, of course, you don't feel the pay because you run businesses, you run at a loss. If it doesn't go down, you have internet bill to pay, you have electricity bill to pay, you have rent to pay for your offices. I don't think government are really subsidizing these things, or maybe I'm wrong. Please help me on that.
No. Personally, we've not got any subsidiary, say any help, any coverage for anything. And I don't see this from any company. I mean, if you think that a restaurant may make, let's say, 1,000 per day, and behind it has suppliers, and behind it will have other suppliers. So it's not helping the bar with 1,000 euros a month. That's probably 5% of its revenue that you will be keeping up the economy. It's a chain where you will have a beginning point and you will have an ending point, and you cannot only help the ending point, because all that is before is destined to be suffering. It's involved in another manner, and it seems they do not see this. It seems that they only see the end point, and they do not see the whole chain of the whole supply chain is not supported. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, now there is also another thing that I'm thinking on, so that it doesn't appear that we are just looking at the Italian situation, because what affects Italy affects also other country. Okay, affect business. Actually, we are more concerned about business than the country that's situated on. Have you? Of course, you do read newspaper, because now we need to get information, try to know what is going on in other parts of the world,
Yeah.
because we are basically in the same boat. We are all suffering together. So we need to know how is the situation being resolved in country A, so that it can maybe be applied in country B or something like that. Have you talked to people to sort of know how is the rules, for example, maybe in some northern part of Europe, I don't know, like Sweden, that have a kind of different approach to it. Do you hear something like that? I mean, how do you? What kind of information do you get from that end?
So I must say that I've been working in London, and I have a good network of friends up in London, and I've been in touch with them speaking, and they have, I can speak from what I've heard, uh, they have a vision. They know that the government has engaged in a big activity, that's the one to get a big part of population, starting from weaker side, vaccinated against the COVID. And they know that there's a roadmap to get the country running it again. On the same way, I heard about Northern Europe, where they had a different activity, and the impact of the death has been lower. Uh, so, in some manner, uh, I must say that from what you hear abroad, there's a better perspective for the future.
All right. If there is a better perspective for the future, maybe from other countries. And the people here, okay, I'm not saying that every business is closed in Italy. That is not the point. But at least looking at the rate at which people are suffering, there is the rate at which a lot of businesses are really struggling. Because if you cannot struggle, if you cannot continue in the struggle, then you close. No, that is just the way, because you are in business to make profit. If you are in business and you continuously pay the cost without any entrance to you,
Well,
it's
you're not
obvious.
only in business, sorry if I interrupt you, you're not only in business to make a profit. You're in business because you like your business. You're in business because it's your life, it's your vision, it's what you know to do better, and you want to share this with people. So it's not only to make a profit, I think. Then profit comes if you're good in doing your business. But if you take a baker, if you take, I don't know, an artisan, yes, he works to make a profit, but often they work to make their business well. I mean, on my side, I work to make a profit, but the first target I have is to make my clients happy, to get satisfaction, to make good buildings, to have proper houses, and get my clients served well. So th- then profit comes, but it's a consequence.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree with you. I perfectly agree with you. Now, what I'm trying to understand here now is when the people are in that kind of situation where it becomes sort of challenging, as it is challenging today, what options are open for them? Like you that is in business and some other people that are in businesses, what option do you see to be open for people?
This is a tough question. You have options when you're free to have options. But in a situation where you do not have freedom to um, act, you will have a few options. Um, I would rather say to keep tough and challenge adversity. That's obvious. But the options, to have options, you have to have freedom. If you do not have freedom, you will difficultly have options uh, in to act. I mean, if the directive is you have to be closed, and I give you pennies keeping you closed, you do not have many options. It's destructive for business.
Yeah, that is a little bit gloomy as it were, no? Well, there is no need pretending about it. It's challenging. All right.
I mean, sorry if I've been violent, but this is uh, my feeling, my look onto this situation.
All right.
You know,
Yeah, I get that. I get that, Mattei. I get that. I get that. All right. Now let's move a little bit towards a different angle in the argument, which is the business of real estate, so that at least we can give some people a kind of a bright side. Tell me, how does the business of real estate really work in Italy? Tell me about it.
so I think that as all cyclical moments where you have a crisis, you have a rise in savings, and this is happening in Italy. And with the rise of savings, usually families invest in real assets that can be real estate, can be renovations, can be um, changing and getting a larger house. So I think that in the future market there will be some good progress market. for almost one third of hospitality, from weekend travelers that come from Friday to Monday, from abroad to people that leave the big cities to go in smaller and more relaxed regions of Italy. So we have been seeing something that will be important for the economy. And as said from before, all the compensation plans that have been made will never be able to cover the loss that this has provoked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It is true. It is true because it's really huge. It's huge. Where are we even going to start from? So that is why I think it was the founder of Alibaba who was saying sometime last year that this year we are entering, which is 2020, is not a year of making a lot of progress. It's a year of maintaining the momentum, just remaining afloat. We will think about profit maybe next year, next 2 years, next 5 years, because it's
Yeah, for sure.
challenging. All right, now, Mattei, I want to ask you this. Which aspect of real estate are you really into in your business? Are you into the hospitality, the housing where people live, or tell me, explain that part for me.
So, the company I have engaged in that was built by my father was focusing on two markets that were office space and prime residential. We are trying to turn around the portfolio, dismissing office spaces and looking on hospitality in touristic areas. We have opened a small B&B in Tuscany, and we are looking to open another similar activity in Umbria. While on the residential side, we are closing a transaction with a bank, and we will be focusing on smaller and more, let's say, market-focused developments. We are going to close a small project in near Rome. It's going to be 12 apartments served. We will be renting them completely served, so furnished with cleaning and utilities paid, with, let's say, a platform that will be easily managed. So these are the perspectives that we see. As said, I'm not a big expert on office space, but what I've seen is there's a big shift from the big buildings to smaller, more structured buildings near public transport. We were looking at some opportunities there, but they're not gonna be our main focus. I think we will be focusing on rental apartments with full service, and this will be the future. We are working on a few projects, and we have focused to build a portfolio in that business area.
Okay, that's great. That's great. All right, now for some investors out there outside Italy, for example, who are trying to look at the real estate industry in Italy, and maybe somebody were to contact you from New York or maybe from Paris, and I want to invest, what would be the best area to go? Of course, everybody know that in Italy, the tourism aspect is really very huge. Though for that part, for this moment, it's almost dead now, and so we hope that it's going to help Italy to recover by the time COVID-19 is out. So, in the real estate, where would you advise somebody to go into for the kind of business?
So for business related to tourism, I would surely focus on Tuscany, on the Tuscan shores and in the historic cities like Siena, Florence, or on the Tyrrhenian shore. Uh, I would dare to say, let's say southern Italy, but you have to have a local partner in those areas. Like if you go in Puglia or if you go in Sardinia, I would not go in other regions, but you would have to be looking to a local partner. While on residential, I must unfortunately say, as we are focused on Rome, that the future of the market is Milan. The city has been challenging this situation better than many other places, and the business attractiveness of the area is unique. Milan, from when it had the Expo, has completely turned around. It has become a city focused on services, innovation, pharma, and population has been growing and rejuvenating. So I would surely go there. So for residential, I would be investing in Milan. For tourism, I would be investing in Tuscany, Puglia, and Sardinia.
All right. Now, remaining always in this aspect of the podcast, where we are trying to look at the advantages that the real estate in Italy have to offer. So at least we can go away a little bit from for the gloomy image of COVID-19. Now, let's assume that some young boys in Milan or in Rome or I don't know in Napoli, they are sort of looking into the real estate as a kind of a business opportunity for them by the time we come out of this situation that we are in. What would you say are the prerequisites, the thing that they need to be able to get started with the real estate to sort of continue to build their portfolio?
So Italy is full of assets of buildings that need renovation, and for sure I would focus on that. Regarding what I said about leisure and tourism, Tuscany, Puglia, and Sardinia are even full of abandoned agricultural assets that can be converted in a good hospitality business. While in a city like Milan, I would be looking at suburbs like Monza or Lodi or areas like this where you can always, through or redevelopment or renovation, find out good business returns.
All right. Now, you don't want to tell me that in the real estate industry in Italy, it's all rosy. No, no, I'm not talking of COVID-19. Let's pretend that it's not here. Let's say maybe like 3, 4 years before. So, what has been the main challenge in running a business within the real estate here? What are the real challenge?
So, let's say that in Italy you have three main challenges, and real estate is not rosy at all. So first, and the biggest challenge is bureaucracy. Uh, it's a very, very, very big problem. It's something that um, you have to deal with, and often you deal with a rubber dummy. It's like a punch bowl. You have things that are stuck for years and years before getting out of them. The second aspect, but it's even physiological, is financing. In the years 2000, there has been a financing of anything that was real estate. There was uh, I was in that market. I was working there, and it was nonsense. Anything that was real estate was financed because there was the credo that the asset was a real asset and the value would have been growing. So today, financing is more difficult. Projects have to be carefully selected. Cost control has to be very tight. And the third and last aspect is that you have to find good opportunities and you have to understand the market and have a local connection on the market. So if you go acting on a market with no big experience on that specific area, it's very dangerous. You can pick a road and it's the wrong road, and the road after that one is the right road. And I remember my father used to say, you have to always look at location, location, location. And once you found a good location, you have to be with somebody who's able to sell that location. So it's a matter of connections and being on that market. If you are from Rome, it would be stupid to go and invest in the southern point of Sicily because it would not be your market. If you are from Rome, you can go to Milan. Maybe you can understand the market like that. Like if you are from Florence, you can go to Bologna or to Verona. You will have a similar market. You may be able to understand it.
Thank you very much for that. I think that is very rich for young people that are watching and want to sort of have a foot on the ground, because some expert in business will say, even in a challenging moment like this is the time to really sit down and reflect and strategize and plan to benefit from, because anything can also be opportunity depending on how we look at it. So for somebody who's trying to go into real estate as a way to get started, this might also be a good chance, because now just looking at demand and supply, there is a lot of demand for let's say there is a lot of supply for houses now because people don't have money, so they're ready to sell, which means you can even buy much cheaper this time and then sell when the market has returned. I don't know if that is something
That's
that is familiar with the real estate in your area.
that for sure. But another factor that's very important now is that the Italian real estate portfolio is old, and if you travel through Europe, you will see that the last 10, 15 years have been focused on renovation. And we will have a lot of market for that and a lot of possibilities, not only on the investment side, but even on the management side. So you can rent an old apartment, very large, for a low price from somebody who needs a low income, and you can manage that asset as student housing, rental apartments for expats, for let's say tourism when we starting again. If you think that focus on tourism on a city like Rome is supposed to be jumping up after COVID to 55 million visitors per year, due to the fact that Italy will become economically affordable, there is market, there are opportunities, and this might have the same impact that Greek crisis had on Greece. Nobody would have been visiting the Greek islands. They became famous because they were affordable. People were going there and living their life in a fancy way with what would have been costing them a weekend in a premium renowned resort. So I think we can assist at this in Italy, and it can be something that if we are smart enough, we can engage to and kick back the Italian market on tourism, on student housing, on hospitality, on residential. There's a lot to do. We've not been doing anything for over 10 years in Italy. We must remember this. Investment in real assets in the last 10 years has been over 50% focused on Milan. So, there's a lot to do.
Of course, Milano, that is where the money is. So if you have the cash in Italy, of course you need to eye that. All right, Mr. Mattei, it has really been very great to talk to you, and we really appreciate all that you have been sharing with us. Now, this is going to be the last question before we move to the smaller section of it, where we are going to consider the solution or the recommendation, as it were. So this one had to do with you personally, in that you are in this business. You have been doing it. Okay, you follow your father, and your father is late, so you took off after him and all that. Now, you in fact corrected me before that it wasn't about business. That business is not about profit, but because you want to serve. So that is really, I really value that a lot. Now, why are you continuously in business in terms of what is your satisfaction personally? What gives you joy at the end of the day that you remain what you are doing in the real estate industry?
So, there are mainly two things that are involved in real estate that give you satisfaction. One thing was the thing that my father was always in when he was passing in front of something that he had built. It was, I have built this, and he was, and you look at that with, like, when you're a child and you build something with Lego, it's a bigger Lego. It's, I have been doing this, I managed this, it came out great. It's a renovation, it's a new building, it's even a simple parking or something like that. It's, I invented this, I made it, I found a solution to give value to this asset. And so this is one of the things. The other thing, and I think it's the most important one, is satisfaction. So when you go around, you have your clients, and your clients are not yelling to you, but they are happy and greet you, and that's the biggest satisfaction you can have. Having somebody who you sent an apartment to, and they send you a friend to buy a new apartment. Having a tenant who leaves an apartment and gives you a contact or a friend who would be looking to rent an apartment. So those are probably the best satisfactions you can get in this business, even because it's marketing. So having a happy tenant, a happy buyer, it's big marketing. It's self-selling.
That's fantastic. All right, before we move to the solution in it, or to the recommendation as it were, the people that have been watching you up to this point, of course, they might like to know how you can serve them, because you have talked about what you do in business. So do you have any offer there? This is a small moment for you to make advertisement for yourself. Tell the people how they should reach you, what you are offering for them.
So what we do mainly is managing real estate assets. We are open to people who want to do business with us as co-investors, or bring us ideas, or share projects they have. On the other hand side, we are always open to work with new suppliers and share new projects. So what we can offer to people is a long-standing know-how developed through almost 1 century, as a real estate business started with my grandfather in the 30s, and it goes on, and we know quite well what is this market about. So we manage third-party real estate assets, and we do investments with other partners that can enter with small, medium, or large tickets. It depends on what they are looking for. One thing is sure, that if you're able to engage in a business with more partners, you will be sharing a risk, and you will have probably the capacity to engage in something that's not your core market. So this is what we can work on with partners, what we do with our third-party investors.
Fantastic. All right, now we are going back to where we started, which is the effect of COVID-19, or the economic effect of COVID-19 on businesses, or on our life today generally. So the first thing I want to ask you is, what do you think is the biggest lesson that we can take home from the experience that we are passing through under COVID-19?
I'll be short. We have one only lesson to learn from this. Unexpected events are unexpected events, and you have to have the mental elasticity to challenge unexpected events.
All right, that is fair enough. That is, it is fair, it's short, but it's very powerful. All right. Now, to small businesses out there that are struggling at the moment, what would you recommend that they should do in order to remain afloat? Because it's a challenging moment, but it doesn't mean that every business is going to be wiped out. There must be some things, some strategy. What do you recommend for them?
Well, I recommend to take action. This is a moment where if you want to stay afloat, you have to take action. If you are uh, under the fire of the economic downturn, you will not be able to challenge this moment. So um, stay in touch with your clients, try to see how and what you can bring to them. If you're a restaurant, try to get in touch with your usual clients, see what you can bring them. The restaurants have been acting smartly, creating menus, delivering dinners, and other things like this. If you are, I don't know, a clothing store, you have your clients. Don't be overtaken by big e-commerce platforms. You can go to your client. You can keep fidelity with him. When you will starting running back business, it's always better to have a personal experience than having a platform, digital platform where you go. I mean, if you have a store, sell experience, sell confidence, sell attention to your clients. It's the only thing that will keep you afloat now, at my opinion.
That is great. That is great, Mattei. All right. Now, this part usually, whatever you like to share, no, because it's possible that there is something you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask you. Maybe a small message. Maybe it can even be a thank you to your client. So maybe this is the only part they are going to see in the interview, and they will still get the message. So, what kind of message would you like to end this podcast with?
I want to end it with a simple message, thanking all the people that have been fighting to keep their business afloat and keeping running, having new ideas, innovating, bringing new spirit to the market, and making this wonderful country unique. Italy is a country where you have uniqueness. That's something that, and I've been traveling quite a lot, you don't find abroad. The uniqueness of Italy is made by its people, and these people must keep fighting, keep on their ideas, keep on their creativity and what they're able to do. It's something unique, and it's something they have to believe in. I'd like to close suggesting a book that I read many years ago. I studied in INSEAD, that's a business school, and I get suggested this book that was Blue Ocean. And I think that in this moment of the market, that would be a great reading.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much, Mattei. I
And
really, yeah. Please go on.
and another very interesting book I would read in this moment is called The Next 100 Years. I don't remember the author. I will look for it and send it to you. And it's another book that's quite enlightening. And there are books you have to read in this specific moment. Um, Sometimes you have readings and topics that are focused for one time, for one period, and those would be excellent for this period. For last, I'd like to thank. I had a professor when I studied in Milan. It was Mr. Sdogati, and I'd suggest everybody to follow his lessons. They find them on YouTube, and he's one of the little economists that's very realistic on this period. Unluckily, he's not positive, but he's realistic, and he doesn't have problems of saying how the things are, really.
Thank you so much, Mattei. In fact, that is a very powerful part to end the podcast with. In that we don't really need people that will be gassing the population with messages that are unrealistic. We need people to be real to the situation. Tell the people the truth. What is really going on? How should we come out of this situation? Where? Because we need to come out of it where? Because whichever way We are going to come out of it. We know we are going to survive this situation. But how are we going to survive it? That is the situation. That is the big question. So I really want to thank you so much. I appreciate the time that you have shared with us, that you have shared with the audience. We appreciate it. And also to our audience that have followed us to the end of this podcast, I say thank you very much. I continue to listen to what Mattei has said. That when you are fighting or when you are under fire, you need to take action. Because if you don't take action, you are dead. You are dead and you are forgotten. So it is important that you make the move. It is difficult, of course. We all know it is difficult. But you are not going to surrender. That is the point. You are going to keep fighting and you are going to survive it.
I'd
So,
like to I'd like
please.
to give you a message that I recently heard. I don't remember exactly who said this. He said, "We survived the Nazis. We will shortly pass over the COVID."
That is true. That is true. Because there is something powerful about the human being is that we are resilient. We will fight and we will survive. Of course, it's not an individual thing to do. It's a collective effort. We are going to collectively fight and defeat COVID-19. And at the end of the day, we will return to the street, return to the bar, return to the houses, go to the hotel, and live our life again. We will fight to defend that. And it's going to happen. So thank you, all of you, and continue to support the project.